Alright, what the hell is going on with the Nets? They've lost 7 in a row, and there's a bunch of other things. Well, in terms of their last game, Kyrie had to do it solo, which speaks to the first thing, that this team, of course, has been plagued by injuries since this big three came together. Kyrie, KD, and Harden have played, 16 games together? The other thing, of course, is Kyrie, and, well, yeah, you know. Anyway, he had a tough game, the other two weren't there, although Cam Thomas, who is perpetually in heat check mode, did have 30 points, so kudos to him. On the other side, they got jazzed, which to me is just saying they got killed from 3. If you are not ready to close out like crazy against the Jazz, you're going to have some trouble. And then sometimes Donovan Mitchell just happening. It was not an inspiring performance from the Nets. Against Sacramento, they fell apart in the fourth quarter. This long two from Damian Jones was pretty nutty. The Kings ran something here that I'm a big fan of, super early screens when the defense is not totally set yet. And as Tyrese Halliburton had Blake Griffin on a switch, look at the help defense. And by that I mean, look at the help defense that pretty much doesn't exist. I mean, Kessler Edwards made a little bit of an effort. James Harden was 1 for 5 in this fourth quarter. There's been a lot of talk about Harden in the past 24 hours. And a lot of that was started by this tweet from Shams. Sixers expected to pursue Harden, Nets are open to discussing a deal. What the hell, bro? Now there's speculation that James Harden has checked out on the team. There was that report that teams want an investigation into collusion between him and the Sixers. The soap opera that some people believed the Brooklyn Nets would be. That's what it's been for the past, 2 weeks. I'm not going to make any predictions because really at this point I have no idea what this, but remember that Bulls win that was like 3 weeks ago now, or whatever it was? This was one of the last games where KD was healthy. And it was this moment where everybody was like, oh, here come the Nets. Has it really flipped that quickly? I mean, of course, Kevin Durant's injury was huge. I mean, we all know how good KD was playing this year, but like, really? That's all it took? 6th seed currently. There you go, 7 losses in a row. Only a half game up on the Raptors, who are on fire currently. Also, my Celtics having a bit of a run. It's kind of frightening. I'm optimistic. It's getting weird. Maybe this is just a 5-head play where they can have Kyrie for more road games in the playoffs. Another thing that doesn't help is Joe Harris might be out for longer than we initially thought too. Anyway, I mentioned the Celtics. In their last 15 games, they are by far the best defensive team in the NBA. And as I dove into the shots that they're giving up, it became clear that the objective of this defense is to keep teams out of the paint and dare teams to take some mid-range shots. In the last 15 games, they're tied with the Suns for least amount of shots allowed in the restricted area. And teams are also shooting the second most mid-range jumpers against them in that time span. Horford, drop coverage again. This is when it looks bad, but it's these types of plays where it's more successful, right? Horford's dropping, Time Lord not super glued to PJ Washington in the corner. Not really a driving lane there for Rozier. They're giving up a long 2, potentially a sidestep 3 or whatever as well. But what he elects to do is dish it off to Oubre. You get a good contest. There's another one here where Jalen is going to switch onto Bridges, and then as he's making his drive, Richardson's there, Time Lord's there, LaMelo and PJ Washington, they're open. They're daring Bridges to make that play, and he just doesn't see them. To state the obvious, you are playing with fire a bit. I mean, if teams are ready for this and they're ready for those skip passes, then you could get burned, but it's been very successful lately. Even with how good LaMelo was in this game, the Celtics' defensive rating was still 105, and I feel like this play shows a lot of that. So first you have Marcus directing Horford on where he's got to stand. Then as the pass goes into Plumlee, Time Lord leaving Rozier wide open in the corner. Tatum is in a position where he can hopefully close out to Washington or Rozier. Then what does he do? He gets over there, and he gets a good contest. It's pretty simple. Luka puts Drummond on a poster. I went and I looked at this. Luka, in the regular season at least, has 53 career dunks, although he's only had 3 this season. He has definitely been on fire lately, and I'm telling you, man, especially if Dallas can pull off something at the deadline, we'll see. It could be pretty frightening. I would also like to give a shout out to Marquise Chris. Yes, that is Marquise Chris. For setting the extra screen on Drummond here, which gave Luka a little bit more of a runway. Ayo Dosunmu throws it down to extend the Bulls' lead to 5. Yeah, this was just a straight-up line drive ISO. The guy had 14 assists in this game. How crazy is it that the Bulls moved all those picks to get Vooch and DeRozan, and yet they still had a second-round pick? that they hit a home run on with DeSumo. I mean, that's the type of thing that general managers can dream of and very rarely pull off. And Scotty Barnes drains the three. I'm stealing this from the Low Post. I believe it was the Low Post. What if after this whole Nets everything, it all ends up with them playing like a play-in game in Toronto where Kyrie can't play? And then the Raptors with their 7 dudes or whatever it is who are all 6'7" and up just annoy the crap out of them and pull off an upset. Oh god, Twitter would break. Also, the Raptors, they might not even get into the play-in. They might just clear the play-in with how they've been playing lately.